Welcome back to part 3 of our interview with Marc Netka, where he tells us the key to avoiding distractions, in addition to why you should run your business professionally instead of entrepreneurially. Marc explains that and much more next on Peak Performers Podcast.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. What's some of your advice you have for other entrepreneurs that are kind of going through a similar progression? You know, they started off small. They were in their garage. They've built it into a real company. What are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way that, you know, you'd like to share with the audience? Don't do what I did or do what I did.
You know, it's all about growth. First of all, I had to grow personally. For 8 years. I just managed my mom, and really she managed me. So I didn't have to manage anybody. Now we have 50 employees. So I had to grow into that position and be willing to grow into that position and realize that I needed to develop skills around managing people. And then, you know, making the transition from being entrepreneurial run to professionally run, right? And that means that you have to start getting a little bit rigid about some of the things you do. You need repeatable processes. You're not constantly reinventing and making mistakes. So putting in processes that allow you to be more efficient. Finding the leakage, right? Where's all the money going? You know, and there's a lot of that as you grow, and when you're going fast and the money's coming in, don't think about it too much. But at some point, your growth is going to slow, and every dollar is going to matter.
Yeah.
And so, putting things in from just going from like QuickBooks to some full-blown ERP system, right, which can save you a lot of money. But you're making a decision based on the fact that it's going to cost me $100,000 to implement it, plus a lot of time, and I don't have someone here necessarily who's dedicated to that. On the other hand, it's going to make me more efficient, probably save me money in the long run.
Right.
So there's always those kind of decisions. But I guess putting a process in place to understand, you know, how to evaluate those decisions and move forward on them. And then not getting distracted by every shiny new thing, which is one of the biggest problems I had and still have for years. I have a zillion ideas and I want to pursue them all. And I'm the boss, so I can pursue them all.
Right.
But thank God I have some people here who feel comfortable enough telling me, no, you know, we still need to focus on this, you know, before we move into something new. So,
yeah. Well, we're fortunate, you know, not only to have people that are, you know, struggling with their profitability, but we also have people, clients that are highly, highly profitable organizations that bring us in and say, okay, find out how to make us another 3%. You know, really dial this thing in for us. And all the ones that are ultra profitable and have huge businesses, they say no to just about everything. To get them to say yes to something is, their lane is so small, they are so focused. If it's one thing that stands out between those that are really killing it and those that, you know, want to, is they know how to say no, and they make no bones about it.
Yeah, I think there's a danger, though, also of going the other way. I mean, we just had an example in our own company where our conservative nature came back to bite us in the butt, and we missed an opportunity.
Yeah, you know, and let me explain something, because there's a very good point. No one's actually ever challenged me on that point, and you bring up a good point. They don't say no to opportunities that enable their company to evolve. They just won't get into other opportunities or offshoots. They have a goal that we're going to create $1 billion organization. That's the goal. If anything comes in there that's like, hey, let's do this little offshoot that'll produce another $25 million in like this separate, you know, but supportive business, they're like, no. What about no? It's like they're always heading towards that North Star of that one.
How does this create long-term value for the stakeholders?
Yes.
Versus transactional revenue that allows me to make a little bit extra money this year, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And I guess for us, I almost look like at our curated set filter as one of those things that gets me to say no. Because as you can imagine, when we get to a certain scale, I have people who want to sell into education calling me every day, sell this, sell my product. Yeah. And I always have to ask them and ask myself, tell me why this should be sold into education. If you can't answer that question, then the answer is no, I'm not going to sell it because I want to maintain that purity, right? That's my thing. Yeah. It's got to be a curated, purpose-built product for us to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're willing to change. One particular client, took $100 million business and basically imploded it because they said the future's not there, it's somewhere else. Same general direction, and that takes a lot of guts to go, okay, we've got 100 million of revenue coming in and we're not going to pursue that lane anymore because in 5 years it may not be there.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he talked to his investors and said, I'm doing this.
Private company.
But you have to have conviction.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can do all the financial analysis you want, but at some point in time, there's intuition. And there's an online blog. I heard this on another someone else's podcast. I think it's called The Source. I'm trying to find my notes.com, and talks about this concept of Gestalt.
Yeah.
Where the person who founded or created or came up with the initial idea for a company or a business sometimes has this intuitive understanding of what's the right thing to do, even if they can't verbalize it or show it on paper. It's similar to like how a mother might have a feeling about their child. Like my wife all the time, I just have this feeling. Yeah. Even though I'm helping raise that child, I don't have the same connection as she does.
Right. Moms
and
have
it's same
that.
with founders a lot of times with businesses. They just have an intuitive feel. And then there's butting of heads when you intuitively have a feeling for what needs to be done, but nobody else recognizes it, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the things that tend to agitate me. Like, why are we doing it? Because I know this is the right thing to do, even if I can't verbalize it to you, and when I get pushback from people who, from the outside, that tends to be when I get upset, right? Because I just have this feeling of this is the way we need to go. Yeah. So sometimes you need to use intuition.
No question. There's actually a lot of studies that have shown that the cellular structure of our stomach is closely related to the cellular structure of our brains. Yeah, our hearts, our stomachs, and our brains share a very similar structure. So when people say, I've got a gut feeling, there's some research that actually says that the stomach and the heart could be another form of a brain.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. But women definitely have better senses there than a lot of times we do. They're just wired a little bit differently. If you see a lot of your peers, did you go to the Inc. 5000 or Inc. 500 kind of get together?
No,
galas?
I have never gone to any of them.
You haven't gone to any. Okay, so I can't ask any questions around. Do you have any peers in California that you know, or
yes, I do know a couple companies we work with that have made the list as well.
Okay, all right. So then I can ask the question now. What do you see some of the similarities with the companies that make the list? Is there something that you can draw kind of a line or a common thread that runs between the leadership or the organizations?
I wish I had an answer for you, but honestly, I don't. I mean, I think there's a zillion ways to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
And maybe that is the thread, that everyone follows their own path.
Maybe. What makes you great?
Well, I don't think I'm great. That's
I know.
In fact, I was writing about this morning in my journal. I'm into Stoic philosophy, and today's thought was about, don't tell yourself a story. Don't brag to other people about all the success you have. And I was kind of reflecting on that. Sometimes you have the urge to say, come on in and see my building. You're going to just be so impressed by what we're doing. On the one hand, I'm like, no, because I know I'm only doing that because I want to try to show off. But on the other hand, I go the other way as well. Like thinking I'm a complete failure all the time. Like nothing's ever good enough.
Yeah. We all do that. We all go through that. We question, it sometimes it becomes the compare game, right? I always try to only compare myself to who I could be. Because anytime you look around, it's real easy. And we never compare ourselves or our organizations to people that aren't doing as well, right? We always compare ourselves to everyone's like, they've got the bigger building, they've got the more employees, they've got, what looks like better profits, they've got better sales. We never look and go, wow, okay, yeah, I see they're kind of struggling. I guess I'll compare myself against them.
Well, there's always people who are better.
No question. But you are doing some things right. You've got this dialed in. You may not have all the answers, which none of us do, but there are some things that you're really doing. It sounds like you've created an amazing culture. You're continuing to train the team. You remain in a position where you're highly coachable, and you're saying, what else do I need to learn? I need to be reading. I need to be feeding my mind. I need to be growing and expanding as a CEO and as a man. So whether you consider yourself great or not, I'm going to put you in the great category.
Oh, thank you.
Because of what you've done, but also I love the attitude and the way that you're continuing to grow. Because I will tell you this, even though you haven't been to any of the events, I've had the opportunity to know a lot of the folks on the Inc. 5000 over the years, and some have gotten a little full of themselves, and it certainly hasn't happened to you. And I know much success is in the future for you, because you're going to be a different man next year and the year after that as you continue to grow. So,
I hope so.
Yeah, no question. Tell us how the audience can get in touch with you. Hopefully we've got a CMO on the line from a school district. So I want to make sure they know how to get a hold of you.
Well, of course, you can just go to our website, which is stseducation-us.com. My email address is Marc with a C, .netka@stseducation-us.com. Those are probably the best ways to get a hold of me.
Terrific. Well, Marc, thanks very much for carving out some time to give the audience some of your background and some of your wisdom. I really appreciate that. And great job with the company. And we look forward to seeing you on the list next year.
Well, great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.